YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for April 16th through 22nd. This week I read one book, I watched one show, I watched one movie, and I listened to one book. As for the travel update, we are currently in Budapest, which is in Hungary and is a place I had never been before, so this is pretty cool. We've already done a bunch of wandering around, so I'm excited to eventually put that vlog together. I also finally put together my Edinburgh vlog, which is now up, so I will link that playlist down below of all the videos I put up while I've been in Europe. The book I read this week is Tell Me How It Ends. This is the first in the Chaos and the Cards series, and it just recently came out this month. This one is indie published, and it's about this main character who works in a gambling house that is run by her entire family. Everybody in the family has a position in the gambling house, and her position is to read tarot cards for the people who come into the gambling house. You come to realize pretty quickly that this is pretty much all she knows of the world. She's never even left the gambling house, and I imagine she's around in her 20s. That's kind of the age it feels like she is. Wow. Lighting change. Okay, whatever. And due to pressures from her mom, who is also her boss, she needs to make more money and decides to go on this wild adventure to do so because somebody has promised her a large amount of money if she just goes with them and helps them get their friend out of a bind. If you are a fan of tarot, this is definitely a book for you. I don't really know that much about tarot, but it is all throughout this book and definitely goes into the different decisions they make based on the cards that are drawn and that type of thing. There's also a lot of character reveals along the way. There's queerness. It's a delight. More lighting changes. So dramatic. As for the show I watched this week, we continued watching comedians in cars getting coffee. This continues to be what it is. It is comedians in different cars getting coffee, although this time we actually saw the first time that somebody has come back on the show again, and it's mostly because Jerry Seinfeld was actually trolling him. It seems that years and years and years before the show, he actually wrote a commercial for a car that was eventually coming out, and that car has now finally come out, and he was telling this one guy, I can't remember his real name, but he played Super Dave, that he was getting a free car as the deal, and Super Dave was like, I would really prefer if you gave me that car. So he goes through this whole thing where he's like, if this is a good episode, maybe you'll get this car, and then at the end he's like, this wasn't actually a free car, I bought this with my own money and you can't have it. And I was like, well, this is just rude. Very, very rude. It was a very fancy car. And I come to realize that Jerry Seinfeld has a lot of cars because we came to another episode and he's like, yeah, this car is really weird. It's called The Thing. And he starts describing all the modifications that this other person made to this specific version of The Thing. And then he talks about how he has his own The Thing. And I'm just like, why did you take somebody else's car to do this episode if you have this car? I don't. It's fine. I don't care. It continues to be what it is, people having discussions, sometimes me being like, why are you saying the things you're saying? That's super inappropriate. Wow. And that's been happening, I think, more often in this last week, but it's hard to quantify. The movie we watched this week is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. We skipped all the way to whatever this one is in the series because this one takes place where we are. They have some scenes in Budapest. There's also some scenes that are shot in Prague, which is where we were last week, that are supposed to be in Budapest. And then there's also scenes in Moscow, which is a place that I have also been. I never feel like I really have to explain Mission Impossible. It's a huge franchise. It's a big spy thing. People have been disavowed. They need to do some things to make things right in the world. Like, that's what it is. Action flicks are fun, especially if I can be like, hey, I'm there right now. That's fun. The book I listened to this week is So This Is Ever After. This is about a group of travelers who have been on this year-long quest, and they've finally done the thing that was in the prophecy, which is kill the evil guy, and this is the aftermath of that situation. What makes this especially interesting is they've killed off the evil guy, which means that they need to find somebody else to be the ruler of this kingdom, but they can't just leave the throne open while they go to rescue that person, so one of them has to be declared the king for an interim period of time. So our main character, Arik, does that because everybody's like, you have to. We can't just leave the crown here or else somebody else will take it and we'll just have to kill another evil guy. And then of course when they go to find the person that they think the crown should go to, that person has been deceased for quite some time. So guess what? He's now the king. And guess what? There's weird magic going on where if he doesn't bind his soul to his soulmate by his 18th birthday, he will fade away. So that's super fun. To add to this complication, implication, while he's been on this trip, one of the people in his party is his best friend since childhood, and he has a crush on him, and he was planning to tell him about this, but now all of this other stuff is making that very, very complicated. He doesn't just want to be like, hey, out of obligation to our friendship, do you want to be my soulmate? Like, that doesn't seem like a good way to be like, by the way, I have a crush on you. This is queer and delightful, and I really loved the narration of this. It was done by Kevin R. Free, who I actually know the voice of from the Welcome to Night Vale universe. I can't remember the name of the character he plays, but I think it's the radio host in Desert Bluffs. I think that's the character he plays. I'm about 5-6 years behind on Welcome to Night Vale, so it's been a very long time, and I feel like I should actually go back to the beginning and re-listen to all of it, because I really, really enjoyed that whole universe. I also really enjoyed the standalone novels. However, once I realized I could be listening to audiobooks instead of podcasts, I switched over to audiobooks and never looked back. He could have also been the character voice for that evil corporation guy. It's one of those things. Maybe that's the same person. I don't even remember at this point. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know all about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment, but you want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-Fi account, which is apparently how you pronounce that. I found that out this week because they posted about it. They were like, how you feel when you realize it's not pronounced like coffee? And I was like, oh, I was just living in ignorance. I wanted it to be pronounced like coffee, but it's pronounced like Ko-fi, like no fee. So I have one of those accounts. It's a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye.